The 2022 World Cup in Qatar is almost upon us. The most stupid, shameful and lethal World Cup of all time, and we are talking about a tournament that was once held in fascist Italy by Benito Mussolini. I hate this World Cup, and everything about it. It is an affront to all that is decent. It was built on the backs of thousands of impoverished and, in many cases now tragically deceased migrant workers, and it has been a farce from start to finish. Brought to you by people whose love of money outweighs their love of football by a magnitude of at least 1,000,000 to 1. I also hate making predictions. I think that they're pointless and stupid, and should be left to cats, elephants and octopuses, rather than YouTubers, who just can't come up with any better ideas. I know, this isn't the best way to start a video about my 2022 World Cup predictions, but hey, it's true. That is why I don't make Premier League, Champions League or any other prediction videos on this channel, but I compromised a while back and said that I would make them for the World Cup and the Euros. That means that since starting this channel 5.5 years ago, I have made just 2 prediction videos, one for the 2018 World Cup and one for Euro 2020. And this one is now the 3rd, so sit back, relax, drink it in and enjoy it because they don't come around often. I mainly do these ones for the major tournaments, just because I enjoy making a reaction video to my predictions at the end of the tournament, and you can all have a jolly good laugh at what an enormous clown I really am. I'll start off with my 7 boldest predictions, which includes who I think will win the Golden Boot, the Golden Ball, my dark horses, and one team that I expect to totally self-destruct, seen as though this is HITC Sevens, that's why I'm going with 7 bold predictions. It's kind of a vibe. And after that, I will go through my entire World Cup predictions, how I think every group will shape up, every single knockout tie, and my ultimate tournament winners. Very briefly, of course, because prediction videos are stupid and I know absolutely nothing. I am in no way, shape or form remotely any more qualified to predict the outcome of a World Cup than any single one of you watching this video. And just as with my Euros predictions, my first and most important prediction is that everything that I predict and am about to say in this video will be totally and utterly wrong. Right. Without further ado then, to get us started, here are my 7 boldest 2022 World Cup predictions. 7th, Qatar get out their group. I am starting with what I would imagine is my boldest prediction, so bold in fact that I'm not even sure that I believe it. Don't worry, saying things that you don't actually believe has never stopped anyone in the football YouTube space before. Qatar are the only team at this tournament making their World Cup debut, and they have only qualified this time by virtue of the fact that they are the tournament hosts. It is for that reason that a lot of people expect Qatar to get spanked in every one of their group games in a display of national humiliation. Maybe that is what will happen, but I'm not so convinced. Everything for the Qatar national team has been building up to this point. The Qatar Stars League, where every single member of Qatar's World Cup squad plays their club football, has been paused since the middle of September so that the Qatar squad could enter into a period of intense training ahead of the World Cup. As hosts, Qatar were drawn in Pot 1 and their group is the weakest at the tournament. Akram Afif and Almoez Ali will cause teams problems, and Qatar proved, by winning the Asian Cup in 2019, that they are a half-decent team. The home nation boost, or bias, depending upon your perspective, has been a frequent theme at the FIFA World Cup, and given Senegal might be without their talisman, Ecuador are a good team, but are certainly beatable, I do think that it is plausible, if a little unlikely, that Qatar could progress. No one else seems to think that they will, so I thought that this was a decent prediction just to get us started. As I have said previously, if the World Cup proper is as rigged as the host nation voting process, Qatar won't just get out of their group, they'll win the whole thing, the Super Bowl and the Ryder Cup. 6th, Messi to win the Golden Boot. Argentina are a slightly strange team going into this World Cup, where they are the second favourites, as man for man, I don't think that they look that formidable, and there are weaknesses littered throughout their squad and starting 11, yet they have been outstanding over the last couple of years, and they have arguably the greatest footballer of all time in their ranks, who is coming into this World Cup, which is likely to be his last, absolutely banging form. I am alluding to Lionel Messi there, not Emiliano Martinez, just in case there is any confusion, and I think that he could well win his first World Cup Golden Boot. Messi has only ever scored 6 goals at the FIFA World Cup finals up to this point, despite having appeared at 4 tournaments, with 4 of those 6 goals coming in 2014, when Argentina reached the final. Messi is now playing deeper than ever before, which you might have thought would count against him in terms of scoring goals, but he has been in lethal form recently for PSG, and particularly for Argentina. In his last 3 games for Argentina, Messi has scored 9 goals. Argentina's group is eminently winnable, and their opening fixture against Saudi Arabia will present Messi and co with the opportunity to start their tournament with a bang. Hopefully it won't be too much of a conflict of interest for Lionel, given just how much money he has taken from the state of Saudi Arabia. Anyway, yeah, I think that Messi is a decent shout for the Golden Boot, and priced at around 12-1, and between the 3rd to 5th favourite with most of the bookies. Whilst I am hardly backing Matty Cash to win it here, I still think that it is bold enough to feature. 5th, Manuel Neuer to win the Golden Ball. This is a little bit silly because if Lionel Messi does indeed win the Golden Boot at the 2022 World Cup, in all likelihood, he will also win the Golden Ball, which is the award given to the best player at a World Cup, meaning that my last 2 predictions potentially contradict one another. I have a theory that the Golden Ball is almost always given to the star player from the runners-up, almost like a sympathy vote for having played so well, but having fallen at the final hurdle. Luka Modric won it in 2018 after losing in the final to France. It was Messi in 2014 after Argentina lost to Germany, Zidane in 2006, despite the fact that he was sent off in the final as France lost to Italy, Ronaldo in 1998 after his health emergency before the final, which Brazil lost to France. You see, there are some exceptions, but it is a bit of a recurring theme. I don't think that Germany will be losing finalists at the 2022 World Cup, as you're about to see with my full predictions, making all of that rambling totally and utterly pointless. But, you know, they could, and I've just got a feeling that Manuel Neuer is going to have an incredible tournament. Still arguably the best goalkeeper on the planet, or certainly one of the best 4 along with Alisson, Thibaut Courtois and Jan Oblak, this is also likely to be Neuer's last World Cup, aged 36, and I expect Germany to give a good account of themselves. So, if my prediction about Messi winning the Golden Boot is wrong, and my prediction about Germany not reaching the final is also wrong, there is a chance that my prediction about Manuel Neuer winning the Golden Ball could actually not be wrong. I told you prediction videos are rubbish. 4th, Cameroon to be catastrophic. Alright, this might not seem that outlandish. Most people don't expect Cameroon to win this World Cup, apart from Samuel Eto'o it would seem, and few would be shocked if they were to go out in the group stage. Cameroon have a very good goalkeeper in Andre Onana, a brilliant midfielder in Andre Frank Zambo Anguissa, and a fantastic front 3 in Vincent Aboubakar, Karl Toko Ekambi, and Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting, assuming that it is those 3 that start. On paper, they should give a good account of themselves and challenge Serbia and Switzerland to be runners-up in Group G behind Brazil. All of the noises coming out of the Cameroon camp ahead of this World Cup would worry me. Samuel Eto'o, who is the head of Cameroon's Football Federation, recently lambasted the team's players, despite them having done well to qualify for this World Cup, and he has poured pressure upon them by suggesting that failing to reach the World Cup final would constitute a failure. That is obviously a deeply stupid and unhelpful comment to make, and Cameroon are without a win in their last 3 internationals, in which they drew 1-1 with Jamaica, lost 1-0 to South Korea, and lost 2-0 to Uzbekistan. Cameroon have a history of self-destructing at their most recent World Cup appearance in 2014, when their own teammates got into a fight against Croatia, and they lost all 3 group games, conceding 9 goals and only scoring 1. I fear a repeat for them in Qatar, despite the talent within their squad, though I hope that I'm proven wrong. Third, Gavi to be the best young player. The Young Player of the Tournament award is always an interesting one at the World Cup, previously won by the likes of Kylian Mbappe, Marc Overmars, and Pele. There is an incredible raft of young talent heading to Qatar, whether that be Aurelien Tchouameni, Vinicius Jr., William Saliba, Pedri, Jamal Musiala, or Canada's starman Alphonso Davies. Naturally, as an Englishman, I hope that Jude Bellingham will be the Young Player of the Tournament at this World Cup, and there is absolutely no doubt that he has the talent to take this tournament by storm and lay down a marker as a generational talent, still aged only 19. Spain are the third favourites going into this World Cup though, in which there is a good chance that Barcelona teammates Pedri and Gavi, and indeed Barcelona trio of Busquets, Pedri and Gavi, could all start. Busquets is a little too old to win the award at this stage, sorry Sergio, but aged 18, Gavi is still very much in contention. I don't actually think that the Spain team or squad are that formidable to say that they are the third favourites, but I think they've potentially got quite a nice route to the semis or even the final. If I'm right about that, and let's be honest, I'm probably not, I think that Gavi could really light up this World Cup. And whilst I couldn't find any betting markets for the Young Player of the Tournament award, so I don't know whether this is bold or incredibly predictable and everyone agrees with me, Gavi is the young man that I'm tipping to take home what is likely to be an incredibly hotly contested award at this FIFA World Cup. Second, Depay and Morata for the silver and bronze ball. No one predicts who will win the silver or the bronze ball at a World Cup because precisely nobody cares who wins the silver or bronze ball. But I promised you 7 bold predictions and I've already done all of the notable ones like the Golden Boot and the Golden Ball. As I said, if Argentina get off to an emphatic start against Saudi Arabia and go deep in neighbouring Qatar, I think that Lionel Messi could have a real stab at winning the Golden Boot, as could Lautaro Martinez, but just behind him or them, I reckon Memphis Depay and Alvaro Morata could also have a field day, or a field 3 weeks if you like, in the Middle East. Memphis is likely to start for the Netherlands as the most advanced player in a sort of 3-2-3-2 formation under Louis van Gaal, where he and Cody Gakpo have been the Netherlands' most potent goal threats in recent internationals. Both are capable of scoring a hatful of goals in Qatar, especially given that the Netherlands are in Group A, which is the weakest group of the finals, and Memphis has a fantastic goal-scoring record at international level. He has scored 42 goals from 81 caps for the Netherlands to date, averaging better than a goal every other game, and currently tied with Klaas-Jan Huntelaar as the country's second highest scorer of all time. Alvaro Morata, meanwhile, is way down the list of Golden Boot candidates with the bookies, priced at around 40-1, which is longer odds than Diogo Jota, who isn't even in the Portugal squad, so that would seem like a bad bet to me. Morata is an absolute bottle job, and I don't use that term lightly, who always seems to shrink in the big moments. But he is still a talented centre-forward. He's likely to start for Spain, who have some outstanding creative players behind him, and like Memphis, he has an impressive goal-scoring record when it comes to international football. Morata has bagged 27 goals from 57 caps for Spain to date, and I would not be at all surprised if he was among the top scorers at the finals in Qatar. First, Serbia to be quarter-finalists. This perhaps isn't quite as bold as Qatar reaching the knockout stage, or trying to predict the silver and bronze ball winners, but I can see Serbia not just getting out of the groups, but actually dumping out a half-decent side in the round of 16. I won't spoil my full predictions for you that we are just about to blitz through, but I think Group G is quite a difficult group to call, other than Brazil winning it, which you would imagine would be a given. Serbia have quietly assembled a really handy team, capable of troubling almost any opposition, especially given their attacking threat, with the likes of Dusan Tadic, Sergej Milinkovic-Savic, Alexander Mitrovic, Luka Jovic, and Dusan Vlahovic. There are some injury and fitness concerns surrounding Mitrovic and Vlahovic, which would fairly significantly hamper Serbia's World Cup prospects, but assuming that they're both fit and firing, I think that they are deserving of the dreaded Dark Horses tag. Here's hoping it works out better for them than it did for Turkey at Euro 2020. Those are my 7 bold 2022 World Cup predictions, but now, very quickly, let's take a look at my entire World Cup predictions. It should be said, unlike with the Euros where UEFA had their own really slick and user-friendly website and app where you could do all of your own predictions, FIFA seemed to have no such equivalent, at least as far as I could tell. That meant that I had the choice of using the Telegraph one or the beIN Sports one being a billionaire-owned media organisation that spews out 24/7 government propaganda, and the other one being beIN Sports. It was an unenviable choice, but in the end I went with the Telegraph. In Group A, surely the Netherlands will win it, but after that, I think that it's just about anyone's guess. Without the injury to Sadio Mane, Senegal would have been my favourites to take second, but now it just feels as though the stars are starting to align against them. Statistically, and logically, it should be Ecuador, who are a really decent side, as they proved in World Cup qualifying. It should go the Netherlands, then Ecuador, then Senegal, and then Qatar, but I have a sneaking suspicion that the hosts might just spring a surprise and sneak through, perhaps with a little bit of controversy a la South Korea in 2002, so that's why my Group A looks like that. England should, and I think that they will win Group B, but I don't think that it will be easy for them. As I said in my recent entire England video, Group B is actually really tight, with the best pot 4 team in Wales and the second best pot 3 team in Iran that England could possibly have drawn, plus the best ever US MNT squad, which I think is slightly underrated coming into this tournament. Iran and Wales will battle valiantly, but whether that will be enough, it remains to be seen. I suspect that England and the USA might just have a little bit too much talent within their ranks and on their benches to open up Iran and Wales over 90 minutes, so that's why I've got things shaping up like that. Argentina would appear to be the most obvious group winners of all to me, and I apologise right there to all Argentines for just having jinxed you, but I do think that they should win all 3 of their group games. Saudi Arabia should lose all 3, and then it is just about anyone's guess between Poland and Mexico. I actually think that Poland have a better starting 11, and arguably even a better squad than Mexico, and they have one of the best players on the planet in Robert Lewandowski. If I'm right about Argentina and Saudi Arabia, though, winning and losing all of their games, that game between Poland and Mexico will be a straight head-to-head match-off to see who progresses. And I can just see Mexico having a bit too much energy and overcoming Poland in what is actually both teams' opening games of the tournament. It's a really tough one, though. France are a funny one, still with arguably the best squad depth of any national team on the planet, but also with a lot of players in unusual situations right now, and you never quite know what to expect from them. It feels to me as though they are a team in transition, but still with brilliant players, capable of either winning or totally self-destructing. I don't think that the champions' curse will strike to quite the same extent that they are dumped out in the group stage, as with previous winners, and both they and Denmark should really progress. Denmark are a really good team, I wouldn't even be surprised if they won the group. Tunisia aren't a great team, and I think that Australia are one of the weakest countries at the tournament. Apologies to all of my Aussie subscribers once again. I love you and I hope that I'm wrong. I just think that the squad is really low on talent at this tournament. Spain are big favourites to win Group E, but I think that Germany are the strongest team in that group, and that is reflected in my predictions. There is always one major upset in the group stage, or at least one, and it could well come in Group E if either Japan or Costa Rica were to cause a storm. I'm not brave enough to predict it, I know, what a coward, and it might not be in that group, but I think that either Group E or Group H are ripe for a real shock. Everyone seems to think that Group F we'll go Belgium, Croatia, Morocco and then Canada, which is understandable, but I think that there is potential for something crazy to happen in this group. Croatia reached the final last time out and are in great form, having won their last 4 games against Denmark, twice, France and Austria, yet I've got them finishing last. It makes no sense whatsoever, and I can't justify or explain it at all. It will almost certainly be wrong then, but for some reason, I've only got them picking up a solitary point. And Canada, who the ELO rankings have as the least fancy team to get out of the groups of anyone at this World Cup, well, naturally, I've got them finishing as runners-up in their first World Cup since 1986, where they lost all 3 games. Brazil will win Group G, barring some kind of a miracle, and by the way, this exact same group existed at the 2018 World Cup in Russia, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. I've already said that I think Cameroon could be catastrophic, and I think who progresses between Switzerland and Serbia will come down to whether Serbia's front 2, Vlahovic and Mitrovic, are fully fit. Assuming that they are, I think that they'll come out on top. And obviously, if they're not, then Switzerland. And lastly, I said that Group H could also be ripe for a surprise, which would be Portugal self-destructing, but again, coward here, I haven't predicted it. There's so much quality in their squad that even with Santosh's stale tactics and a very Ronaldo-centric setup, with Ronaldo not being in great form it should be said, they should still have the talent, even with that being said, to win the group. With Uruguay, who would be my other dark horses along with Serbia, the favourites to take second. In the round of 16, I've got the Netherlands defeating the USA, Argentina beating Denmark, England winning against Qatar, France beating Mexico, Germany emerging victorious against Canada, Brazil beating fellow South Americans Uruguay, Spain beating Belgium, and Serbia seeing off Portugal. Purely by virtue of how my groups went, I think, the first 5 or 6 of those do seem quite straightforward. Despite being my dark horses, if Uruguay meet Brazil, I do think that they'll lose. Belgium versus Spain would be a brilliant football match, and I only narrowly went with Spain as my winners, and I do think Portugal's stale tactics could catch up with them in the round of 16, even playing against Serbia, where I can just see Mitrovic winning that game and ruining the script of a potential Messi versus Ronaldo World Cup. If it's Switzerland though, I reckon Portugal would win. On to the quarterfinals, and by this stage we are talking about games that will almost certainly never even happen because I'll have been wrong about so much before we even get to this point, but nonetheless, I have Argentina beating the Netherlands, Germany beating Brazil, England beating France, and Spain beating Serbia. Right, don't ask, because even I can't explain it, but I said in my England video that I think England will go out in the quarterfinals, where they will most likely meet a super team, and that is still what I believe. Yet, just when I was doing this predictor, and it happened to be England versus France, call it blind partisanship or utter delusion, but I just felt like England could beat this France team, so I clicked on them. Wishful thinking perhaps. Likewise, I think that Brazil are the team to beat in Qatar, and they would probably be my winners if you just asked me to predict without doing the actual predictor thing, and they are deserved tournament favourites. Yet, for some unknown reason, I feel like Germany in the quarters is the perfect team and tie to undo them. I hope that game happens at least, because whilst I have no idea how it would end up, I'm fairly certain that it would be really fun to watch. All 4 of my semi-finalists are former World Cup winners, and I have got Argentina ending Germany's run and Spain seeing England off to head into the final, where it would seem Lionel Messi will finally get his hands on the FIFA World Cup trophy, and Argentina will win their first World Cup since 1986. Nah, probably not. It's all a load of old nonsense. They'll probably go out in the group stage, Cameroon will win it, and I'll look like the world's biggest imbecile, and I'll have to go grovelling to Samuel Eto'o and issue him with a formal apology. Anyway, that's it for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it, because it won't be coming around for another couple of years. Hit the like button if that was the case. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, and your own predictions if you like, why not, we're all at it. And subscribe and turn on notifications for HITC Sevens. You can also find me on Twitter and on Instagram via the username at HITC Sevens, should you wish to do so.